Hello everyone. So let's continue with our third chapter. Okay. So previously in last video we discussed about managerial control. Okay. So why the managerial control is needed? Like what is the need of managerial control? We studied about it. Again we are going to continue with the same topic in this video. Now we are going to study the controlling methods, managerial controlling methods. Okay. So basically, the primary control for every organization is planning its budget. Okay, it is most widely used technique of control in both business as well as government organization. So budget is both a plan and a control. Okay, in the preparation of budget is basically the integral part of the planning process. Okay, so basically, planning the budget is very important. One of the important controlling method. Okay, so basically, financial budgets are represented by cash capital expenditure budgets, which furnish details about two basic things. First is where the organization intends to spend its money and where this money will come from. So basically, two things, okay? From where the organization intends to spend the money and from where will the money come from, okay? Now we'll study essentials of effective controlling by supervisor. What essentials are needed in order to make effective control by the supervisor? So first is suitable. So basically the control system must be appropriate and suitable to nature and needs of the activity. Second is timely and looking forward. The feedback system should always be short and quick as possible. Third is objective and comprehensive. Objective controls specify that the expected result in clear and definite terms. The meaning of central data, whatever is there, should be clear to the manager who is responsible to use it. Next is it should be flexible. Okay, so that it can be adjusted to suit the needs of any changes in the basic nature of inputs and varieties. Fifth is economical, that is the benefits obtained from the control system should be more than the cost involved in implementing it. Sixth is acceptable to organization members. The system should be acceptable to the organization members. Seventh is periodically reviewed. The control system should be periodically reviewed and evaluated. Okay. So basically, these are the seven essentials for effective control of by the supervisor. Okay. Next is workers' resistance to managerial control. Okay. First is failure to accept the objective. Okay, so if the worker does not care to reduce the waste and if he thinks it is not going to make any difference to his employer who is very rich, so he fails to accept the objective. Next is unreasonable standard. Person may also not dislike the control because it thinks that the standard of performance set for him is very high. Then too many controls. The too many controls can also irritate the worker. Okay. Then incomplete measurement. Okay. If the measurement of the performance is incomplete, then people may dislike the control. Fifth is disclosure of unpleasant facts. Employee does not like control because they fear the exposure of their weaknesses before supervisors, subordinates, and colleagues. Okay. So these are the 5 points where workers resistance to managerial control. Okay, next is control technique. First, there are seven control techniques. First is past oriented, second is further future oriented, third is market control, fourth is bureaucratic control, fifth is clan control, sixth is old control, and seventh is new control. So let's start with past oriented control technique. Okay, basically there are post action controls. That is they measure the result after the work is completed. An example of it is inspection of jobs. Second is future oriented control technique. These are also known as feed forward controls and they measure the results before the work is completed. Example is funds flow analysis. Next is market control techniques. Here the control is established by doing comparison of prices and profits of previous years or of the organization. Example, prices of the product. Fourth is bureaucratic control technique. These are controlled by government rules. Fifth is clan control technique, basically used to establish the control by generating trust, tradition, and shared belief among the organization. Sixth is old control technique. These are financial and according accounting based direct towards the control of the money. Seventh is new control technique. They provide the kind of information that are not readily available within the old technique. So these comes in new control techniques. Okay. So these were the seven control techniques. Next is scope for control by supervisor. Supervisor has a scope of control in following areas. First is control over short-term policies. Second is control over department, control over workers, control over production, control over cost of production, control over cycle time, control over material, control over machines, control over equipment and tools, and overall control. So these are the 10 points that specify the areas of scope of areas of control. Next is types of supervisory control. Okay, first is standardizing control. Performance, in that you have performance and standardized use of time and work study. Second is preserving control. Here the responsibilities are allocated among the workers in the organization and strict supervision is done and maintained to control the uses of the assets that are available in the company. Third is delegation of authority control. Here the policy manual is already decided and then the internal audits are done. Fourth is measurement control. Here the job performance is measured. Measurement is done through special reports and budgets. Fifth is motivating control. Here the controlling is done by motivation. So motivation by promotion and rewards. Okay, so these were the five types of supervisory control. Next is advantages of control by the supervisor. So basically, it makes control makes the necessary adjustment in operations. Then the management can verify the policies also through the control process, and the control flows throughout the organization from top to bottom. So supervisor has control over all the subordinates. Okay, so the supervisor should not misuse his authority to control its subordinates, and also there is a psychological pressure to get the better performance through this control process. Okay, and atmosphere of discipline is maintained. Okay, and supervisor coordinate the activities to his subordinate with the help of the control. Also, he ensures that progress is efficient and he keeps a check on what progress is done. Okay, so these are basically advantages of supervisor by the control by the supervisor. Next are the limitations of control by supervisor. Okay, so basically, he cannot fix the standards in all the cases. If quantitative standards are not fixed, then the performance cannot be measured if standards are not maintained. Then external factors like government policies, market trends, they cannot be controlled by the supervisor. And if the supervisor tries to control his subordinates, then his freedom is lost. So there is difficulty in applying the responsibilities if workers, subordinate itself are not willing to accept the controls that are specified by the supervisor. And lastly, uh, a small organization cannot afford expensive methods of controlling. So these are basically the limitations of control by supervisor. Okay. So that's it. We have completed our third chapter over here. Okay. If you have any doubt about it, we can discuss in tomorrow's lecture. Okay. I hope everything is clear to you all.